Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Frank Amptmeijer. I'm a co-founder of TreeTherium. As you probably saw from the thumbnail, we would like you to understand a little bit more on how you can get involved with TreeTherium. Our tagline is tokenizing tree planting worldwide. There's a lot of words there. In principle, it consists of 4 words. Tokenizing means that in principle, everything that we do will go on the blockchain. Tree planting is about planting physical trees, not just digital trees, but physical trees. Dig in the earth, put in the seed or the seedling, and grow the tree. And then worldwide means that we have very much global ambitions. And it's amazing what is happening at the moment. Every week we get people from around the globe contacting us to get involved. But it also seems to be that we are not very 100% clear yet on what we have to offer. So that's why I'm making this video at this moment for you to understand a little bit more on what we have to offer. First of all, about 2 weeks ago, we brought a new community manager on board. And thanks to her, I'm today in my garden. She said, we see too much hotel rooms and offices. And please make some videos and podcasts outside. So that's what we are doing today. So thank you very much, Amelia, for that tip. Okay, so you want to get involved in TreeTherium. That's awesome, because that's exactly then we're looking for you. Now, what we are looking for in principle, people worldwide that are eco-conscious, that have a green heart and understand that the way we are going at this moment in the world is not the right way. Obviously, we are consuming too much and we are not doing enough. We as people, we're not taking enough care of our environment, whether that's air, water, our land itself. In principle, we need to improve. Now, we don't, as TreeTherium, we don't have to the ambition to improve everything. We can't do everything at once. We have to go step by step. And we are very much focused on tree planting. Will we later be involved in all sorts of other projects? I'm sure we will. But for this moment, we are very much focused on planting trees. Now, I've said this before in previous videos, and if you have watched our white paper on our website, you probably also have seen that we mentioned that 42 football fields of forest get removed from this planet every single minute of every single day. These are stunning numbers, and we are not planting enough. And of course, on this planet, currently we live with 8 billion people. Interesting enough, I'm only 60 years old, but when I was born in 1963, there was only 5.3 billion people on this world. So almost close to 40% more people have come on this planet in the last 60 years. And of course, all these people need to eat. All these people need to breathe. All these people need to drink clean water. And that's where we as human beings and have to give our kindness in terms of we provide our own efforts. We could provide some of the money that we earn towards good causes. But one of the things that we clearly see is that this planet is not going in the right direction. So we got to take care of Mother Earth. We only have one Mother Earth. However, Elon Musk probably thinks about that a little bit differently, as he wants to go and visit other planets. But that's fine for him. Let's take care of this planet first before we start invading other planets. I think that's an important message here. So, have you planted any trees in your life? It's maybe a question to ask. I know people that I bump into and I tell them a little bit of what we do, and they're kept very curious and very interested. They said, yes, I did something like that when I was at school, or we had at university, we had an ecological week. But then more or less after that, no other actions taken. So at TreeTherium, what we are all about is actually get you off the couch every week. Because this is where one of our taglines leads you to, is the following tagline. Everyone can grow a forest. That's correct. Also you, watching right now, you can grow a forest. How's that possible? Well, first of all, we have to determine what is a forest. A forest, probably with 10 trees, is not a forest yet. That's a patch of land. A forest with 100 trees gets a bit more substantial, but I don't think that's really a forest yet. It starts to grow around the 500 mark. And this is also what we got set out on a couple of years back when we started thinking about TreeTherium. So 500 trees would be a forest, correct? So if you have planted 500 trees, then you are growing a forest. Now, how are you going to plant these 500 trees? Are you going to plant them next weekend? Great job, but you don't have big enough hands to do that. So our solution in principle is plant 1 tree a week, every week, for 52 weeks a year. That's 52 trees per year. In 10 years time, it's 500 plus trees. You now grow in a forest. So from that perspective, everyone can grow a forest, 1 tree at a time, being consistent. Now we fully understand that not everybody has the time to do that. You might do that maybe every day during a holiday, for instance, and make it an eco holiday. But not everybody has the time to actually grow little trees at home and take them out there and to be planted. So what do? We organize tree planting events, and we would like to organize tree planting events worldwide. That's part of our course. Now, it could be that you completely have no time. You're, let's say you're in your mid 20s or in your mid 40s, and you're working, and you have a mortgage to take care of, you have kids to put through university, you got 2 cars to pay for, you're doing well in life. That's awesome for you, but you're probably not taking care enough of nature. So let other people do it for you. Spend a little bit of your money and allow others and fund, more or less, you fund other people's projects. And this is where we come in. This is where TreeTherium takes out. We will have an application that's going to go live in January next year. I've seen the prototypes and it looks fantastic. Really excited to finally show you guys some of the prototypes. We will do that soon. I will even get you involved in actually testing our application with some dummy content at first, but at least so that we are able to test with a larger group, not just our technical team. So we will have an application where, for instance, you could bring back some of your money or bring forward some of your money and say, I would like to fund 100 trees, regardless where they're going to be planted in the world. So it could be that we have 2 trees that get planted in Sydney, Australia, some other trees that get planted in Peru, some other trees that get planted somewhere in a urban garden in Amsterdam. All of this is possible because of our application. And you will be able to follow these trees. You will be in contact, if you want to, with the people that actually have planted your trees. So all of this will be enabled in the application. And this is where we start building a community. Or let's say you have that same idea, you want to fund 100 trees, but you would like to fund a project in, let's say, Central Africa, where at this moment we have a lot of activity. And you would like to fund a project there. Well, that's possible through the application as well. So either you provide the funds and we should make the choices for you and inform you exactly where your funds went, or you choose the projects that we present to you. Now, if you are a planter and you have ideas, it could be that you're a planter yourself. And of course, going alone, planting trees is a tedious exercise. It's also not as much fun as going with a small group. So let's say on one of your first projects, you bring 3 or 4 people along. Now you're planting with 5 people. You go 5 times as fast. And that's exactly what Mother Earth needs. Once you get the grasp of organizing smaller events, maybe you want to do something with your school, your university, your sports club, whoever you think will be interested. And you can do this maybe a couple of times per year. Take 30 to 50 people out in the field, get approval from a farmer or a landowner, and start planting trees. Now, this is also where you can bring forward projects. You can say, I have a project, but I would require an X amount of dollars to run that project. We do understand your time is valuable. Trees don't come for free unless you grow them maybe at home, but still you got to pay a little bit for the maintenance and the earth and making sure that you have quality soil. Um, Maybe you want to use some organic fertilizer. All of this costs money, right? So a project, running a project, costs a bit of money. So from that perspective, again, we will be enable you to get your project funded to people out there that are interested to actually fund your project. Now, I just talked about a farmer or a landowner that wants to make their land available for tree planting. Now, here in Asia, for instance, we know that there are a lot of property developers that sit on massive land banks. These are land banks they have bought 20, 30, 40 years ago in the hope that cities will grow and that they one day they will be building properties on these. Now, of course, these lands were bought relatively cheap to be sold at a later stage to new house owners or new apartment building owners. Now, these lands can be used to plant trees. And in the meantime, while the property developer is waiting for the building permits and the approvals, and that could take sometimes tens of, that could be taking decades at times. Why not we plant trees on your land? And in the end, because you're the landowner, you also have access to the economical value of these trees at the end of its life. But in the meantime, unless instead of leaving your land bare, we would like to plant trees on your land. So if you're a property developer and you're listening, or you have some land and that's bare land, you're not doing anything with it, why not contact us and we can make your land available to some of the projects that other people will be funding. So this is a little bit of the overview on how we will work in TreeTherium. Once you start working with the mobile application that we're going to present to you, also called the TreeTherium app, it will become much more intuitive to understand how we work. Currently, we're also working on not a system that I'm going to tell you a little bit about a little bit later. Let me quickly I took some notes if you don't mind. I don't like the script, but at least I have some bullet points. Let me see if I covered everything. Yep, we covered that. Explain TreeTherium, tokenizing. Okay, this is an important part. If you do anything in crypto, that's an important thing to mention. You probably will hear a term relatively often used, and that term is called real world assets, or in short, RWAs. There is a lot of real world assets in the near future that will be tokenized on the blockchain. And exactly that's what we are doing. Trees are real world assets. Forests are real world assets. Roads are real world assets. Waterways are real world assets. Cities are real world assets. City blocks are real world assets. City buildings are real world assets. Every car, every pedestrian, in principle, are all real world assets. So in principle, what we can see because of the blockchain, we will be tokenizing the world in the next 3 to 5 years. And you will see a lot of companies out there starting to tokenize. And what they also call fractionalizing. Because if you have a large piece, I'll give you an example, right? You have a large piece of land, say you have 100 acres of land, and you want to sell that land an acre a piece. Now, in traditional ways, you would have to cut up all the land for each and every one of them. But if you now want 100 different owners to own that land, actually through the blockchain and tokenization of your land title, it's relatively easy. And it's easy for people to buy in to sharing a lot or a plot of land. So there's a lot of opportunities that are coming. Don't get me wrong. For instance, this tokenization at government level is not completely happening yet. But when I look at what is happening around us at this moment in Thailand, in Malaysia, in Singapore, in Indonesia, there is a lot of talk and a lot of incentives happening because of the government. So that means government is looking at corporate is looking, and we can see there's a lot of things happening at this moment. So even very, very soon, governments will get some of their assets onto the blockchain, tokenizing, fractionalizing, etc. So there's a lot of new technology that's coming. And because we run a tech company, Of course, we have some insights on what's happening there, but we want to bring you along on that ride. And we do this to planting trees, a relatively easy and simple exercise. Sometimes very easy, sometimes a bit more complex, but we are here to help you. Currently, part of our team is writing a tree planting handbook, and we're going to address different countries, address different climates, we're going to address different continents, of course, all sorts of different and popular tree species. A lot of things that are happening at the moment behind the scenes. Currently, our tech team is working on the application, but we have another part of the tech team that is also working on a new part of the application, which is called my offset my carbon footprint. So we'll have an application where you as a person or with your family or as a corporate entity can offset your carbon footprint. Now, this is something that I have to explain to you. And maybe that goes a little bit deeper as what I actually wanted to share in this video. But recently, since I've been talking to business friends about TreeTherium, the first thing they always say, oh, are you in the carbon credit business? And the first thing I say is, no, we're not. And then they are very surprised because then they say, but you do tree planting. You must be in the carbon credit business. I said, we're not. TreeTherium is all about planting trees. And this is exactly what I have said in the early stage of this video. TreeTherium plants trees. With that, if we plant hundreds of thousands of trees all over the planet, with that, we will be starting to build a carbon bank. What we exactly going to do with that carbon bank, we will leave that up to what we call the DAO. And this is a very important term you might not have heard of yet. It's a technical term, it's a blockchain term, and it's also a little bit of a crypto term, because a lot of crypto projects also have a DAO. Let me explain to you what is a DAO. A DAO is a decentralized autonomous organization. Decentralized means it's completely independent and runs on a blockchain. The DAO is actually nothing more than a little piece of software that runs on the blockchain. And everything that happens in the DAO is stored on the blockchain, which makes it, one, transparent to all, and number two, immutable, means it never can be changed. Once something has entered into the DAO, it will be there forever. So backtracking, even if TreeTherium is 10 or 15 or 20 years old, you can still backtrack on our DAO records from the early days. Now, why is the DAO so important, and who will the DAO belong to? Let me explain that. I will do a separate video on our DAO, but let me quickly explain to you what the DAO is, because once I learned about DAO, I was so surprised that this is even possible, because I come from a very traditional business background, where in principle you have a product or a service, you sell it at a profit. That's interesting, right? That's how business works. You have a product or a service and you sell it at a profit. Now, in our case, we don't want a profit. That's interesting, right? So in principle, we're a not-for-profit organization. That's what we are. That doesn't mean that we don't make any money. We take a very small portion of any funds that get donated to us or come into our accounts. We take a very small portion of this to run the company, and we're lean and clean. We're a very small team, and we're trying to achieve global existence. But so for that, we need a little tiny bit, probably about anywhere between 2.5% to 3% of any dollar that comes in. That also means that 97% of all the dollars that go out are actually going to go to tree planting activities, and probably also some other activities as helping organizations with clean water. And when there is need in the world, then we will have funds to also support that. But our core focus is tree planting. So 97% of every dollar that comes in, 97 cents of every dollar that comes in, go directly to funding tree planting projects. Now, why am I telling you all this? Because I just spoke about funding and I just spoke about DAO. That means that TreeTherium, if we do this globally, and globally people start putting in a couple of dollars, hundreds of dollars, maybe a 1 month salary, I don't know what people do want to spend. It's also not important. What we do want is that hundreds of thousands and maybe even millions of people are going to join us on this effort of planting more trees. And if you don't have the time and you can't make the effort, then share a little bit of your money. So that's the idea. Now, am I going to decide over your money? No. Is my co-founders going to decide over your money? Absolutely not. What we're going to do, and this is an important one to understand, is we're going to give the authority of the organization, so of TreeTherium, we're going to give that to the DAO. That means anybody can become a member of the DAO, and with that is able to vote on proposals in the DAO. Now I'm speaking about more things. So we're talking about the DAO. The DAO partners, as we call them, could be anybody that holds a what we call a governance token. So you need to own a little bit of seed token, and seeds is our governance token. You own a little bit, even if you own one, you have voting rights in the DAO. That means if somebody puts a proposal forward, sorry, I have my nose is a bit itchy. In Holland, we say a big project must be coming, so I don't know. But in principle, it works like this. So the DAO, there's two main things that can be done in the DAO. One, anybody can make a proposal, and number two, everybody, all partners, all DAO partners can vote on proposals. So regardless if you have 1 million seeds tokens, a governance token, or 1 million governance seeds tokens, the governance token, regardless of that, you have the rights to vote. So that means that every partner has the right to vote on any proposal that is forwarded into the DAO. And we really, in the beginning, we as an organization will be managing, but there comes a moment where we really hand over everything to the DAO. Let the DAO decide it. So in this case, where we just mentioned that we as an organization at this moment take 3%, if the DAO later decides you take 2%, then that's the DAO's decision, right? So we leave all these important decisions to the DAO. That also means that the funds actually belong to the DAO, and the DAO transfer the funds. So to every proposal, when there's, for instance, money required, let's say there's a project, there's a couple of students in, let's say, Jakarta, and they need $500. The DAO will decide on these $500, and the moment the DAO vote says yes, immediately that money is dispersed from our funds. So there is no banking involved and all this. Straight away, this is a blockchain transaction. From the moment the DAO states yes, the money is immediately transferred into the account of the proposer. So lots to talk about, lots of things that I said. Well, the title of the video is how can you get involved? So first thing I would suggest you to do, if you feel everything up to now interested you, let me then share the following with you what you should do. Number one, go to the website. To the website, it's called TreeTherium.io. We'll put a link in the description below. I will also put a link to our Linktree. Linktree is a page, it's like a website program more or less, where you find all our links. All our social channels are there. We have a WhatsApp group where we're building a community at this moment. There's a bunch of international people there as well, from Europe, from South America, from Central America, from Africa, from Malaysia and Asia. So lots of people that you can find there already, and you can straight away, it's your WhatsApp group. Yeah, use it to your advantage. If you have questions on tree planting, want to organize something with friends, please feel free to use the WhatsApp group. Become a member of the WhatsApp group. Become like and share our social media channels. We're in LinkedIn, Twitter, and Facebook at the moment. Later, we're going to also add Discord and some other channels, but for now, this is good enough. Of course, we have a YouTube channel. You probably see us on YouTube at this moment. So like and share that with your friends so we get a bit more visibility. Now, if you are at the website, there's a few things that you can do. Number one, you can pre-register for the DAO. If you have an interest in actually owning some tokens in the DAO, go to DAO, and then there's an option to pre-register at the bottom of the page. Pre-register yourself there. That's one. That's a good step to take. Now we have your email address, and we can communicate with you and keep you up to date. Now, something that you might not have seen yet is that we actually have not launched the Seeds token yet, but we have started a pre-sale on the Seeds token. And this is the pretty amazing thing that of something that can be done in crypto, and that sometimes cannot be done if we're talking hard dollars, but in crypto we can do this. We will give you every Seed token that you purchase right now, and we give you a 3x. That means if you buy 100 tokens, you get, in the end, you get 300 tokens. And there's more to it, but I'll make a different video on that, on where I go a bit more deeper into the actual Seeds token, because we also will have a tree token, which is a utility token. I will explain in that video a bit more on how these two relate, how you can get to them, what are the bonuses, what can you do with it. So all of this I will explain in a different video. So go to the website, read our white paper, everything's there, and also our tokenomics are explained there. On a regular basis, we make small adjustments to the white paper of feedback that we receive from you. We don't make all the feedbacks on ourselves. It's sometimes very difficult to see your own little mistakes that you write in a 38-page document. But with your help and you reading the white paper and coming back to with questions to us makes us become better. And that's the way we see it. This is an effort that we are going to do together. This is really a together family, a together organization, a together community, and together we can plant more trees. Start a tree planting project. If you don't know how, give us a buzz. We can help you. So that would be the ways to get involved. Go to the website, go to linktree/TreeTherium. That's where you find all our social links. Connect with all of us on all sides. If you want to get involved on the Seeds token, the governance token, purchase some. And principle in pre-sale, what you do is actually we will give you a little agreement that you give us $10 or $15, and we will the moment the Seeds tokens get launched, we will then transfer your Seeds tokens plus your bonus tokens directly to you. And yeah, that's a little bit on the end of my little list of that I have here. I hope you like the content. If you have questions or you thought you completely missed me, I have no idea what you're talking about, fantastic. Okay, that's a good thing, because that means that we have to explain more. So feel free to leave some comments so that we can answer your questions, and then hopefully we can address these questions in our next videos. Because when you are working on a project, often you think from your direction, and you think we're going in the right way, and what we are explaining, everybody will understand. But of course, not everybody speaks our technical language, or not everybody is well versed yet in blockchain or crypto terminology. So feel free to ask us any questions. We are here for you. And like I said, let's do this together. Let's make this planet a greener planet. Thank you very much for now, and look forward to seeing you on the next video. By the way, the next video is going to be done by Matthias Gelber, who's going to explain a little bit more on why we need the tree plant. And that's, I think, is for next. Thank you so much for watching.